How do you expect to act like the person you want to be if your environment doesn't reflect that person? This is a quote that has totally changed my life a few months ago. And I tell you the truth, if you want to make sticking to your positive habits and break free from your bad habits as easy as possible, one of the most powerful things you can do is design your environment in a better way. And I'm not talking about, the people you surround yourself with. That's also very important. But here I'm talking about designing your physical environment. That is going to make such a huge difference. And if you were to see my habit tracker, you would see that it actually does work. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 main steps to design your environment so well that sticking to your positive habits will be easier than fucking up, and breaking free from your negative habits will be easier than continue doing them. Now, the first thing we need to understand is why your environment is so powerful. Now, it's actually very simple. If you don't have a well-designed environment, you are going to make your life so much harder. Let's be honest, it's already hard to build a new habit, right? It takes mental effort, and also breaking free from an old one is also very hard. If your environment is not helping you, then it is harming you, and it is making things even harder. And that's why most people can't stick to their habits and they can't build new ones. Not because they're not disciplined enough, but because at the beginning, especially at the beginning, you want to be basically making everything as easy as possible for you. You want to make sticking to the things you want to stick to as easy as possible and fucking up as hard as possible, right? Why making your life harder without a reason, right? Makes no sense. That's why your environment is so crucial. Now, the first thing I've personally done, and I do every single time I want to be building a new habit, is defining it exactly. You cannot build a new habit or design your environment for it if you don't know exactly what you want to be building. So my question for you here is very simple. What exact habit do you want to build? Do you want to start going to the gym 3 times a week? Start reading books every single day for an hour? Break free from smoking? Or start a new diet? Whatever, right? You have to define exactly what kind of habit you want to be building in order to be able to get to step number 2, which is setting rules. Once I've defined my habit, I understand exactly everything I need to basically set rules on, so that I can make decisions in beforehand, so that I don't need to be worrying about things afterwards. What do I mean by that? Let's say that you wanted to build a habit of reading. Now, when you're there and you want to be reading, you have to first of all have the right book. You have to know how long you're going to be reading, when you're going to be reading, where you're going to be reading. And so you want to basically define in beforehand and set your rules for what you will be doing exactly, so that when you're there and you need to perform your habit, you don't have to do any guesswork anymore. Everything is already planned, everything is already set, and you know exactly, you can just execute. Everything is already planned out step by step. That's the power of setting rules, and that's why it's so powerful. Because if you want to build a new diet, let's say, and stick to it, how can you expect to stick to a new diet if you don't know what you are going to be eating Monday as lunch? You have to still, okay, fuck, I have so many calories left and this food, and oh my god, should I do I have to still go to the grocery store? Like, what should I cook myself? How do you expect to stick to a new habit if you do not yet plan it in beforehand? So it's very powerful. And here I have a few questions for you that might help you out in this process. First of all, when will you be performing that habit? Where? How long? How much? How often also? What objects do you need? What things do you need to know to do that thing? And then you define them right now for your future self, and he will surely thank you, because when you're going to be there in the gym, you will have already defined your exact gym workout plan. So you don't need to ask yourself, okay, what exercise do you know next? You know exactly. You will also know at what time you will be working out, where, at what gym you will be working out, with what equipment. So you have to define everything so that you get to step number 3, which is making all the upfront work. This is another stepping stone of the process, and it's just about doing everything you can right now so that your future self doesn't have to do it. As we said, when we want to design our environment, we want to basically put away all the friction that we can towards doing the right thing. And if we want to break free from a habit or like stop doing wrong things, while we make the right path as frictionless as possible, we want to make the wrong path as hard as possible. And we do that by setting up some systems, by basically doing some upfront work. Now, for example, if you want to go to the gym, right, what kind of upfront work could you do? First of all, you've already defined everything, so that's already done. But now, if you know that you're going to go to the gym at 4 p.m. And work out, let's say, legs, right? What other things are going to be in your way? First of all, preparing your stuff. Secondly, going to the gym. Thirdly, also having the subscription, so buying yourself the subscription at the gym if, for example, you're going there for the first time. So you want to be taking away as much friction as possible. So you want to prepare everything so that you already have everything ready for the workout. You want to have bought already the subscription so that you're not going to be there having to go to the gym, having to be in pain because you have to work out, and be in double pain because you still have to pay and give out some money. So it's very, very probably not going to happen if you have like so much friction towards it. Obviously, you cannot drive yourself to the gym in beforehand, but try to understand all the steps that need to be taken, all the decisions, all the things you need to do, and then do them in beforehand. If you wanted to build a habit of, reading daily, you put your book already on the right place so that you already know, and you also set yourself an alarm so that you don't forget. If you want to build the right diet for you, you only buy the foods already for the week so that you know exactly what things you're going to basically be cooking, and then you also set up your whole kitchen so that you have everything you need in the right place and everything you don't need away. So now here are the questions that are going to guide you into identifying the right kind of upfront work. The first question you can ask yourself is, what are all the things that I need to perform this habit at best? Second question, what are all the things that would make, sticking to this habit as easy for me as possible and as enjoyable as possible? The third question you can ask yourself is, what are all the things that might distract me in my environment from, sticking to the right things? For example, if you wanted to be working, people, your phone, things on your desk, whatever thing that might distract you. Define it and eliminate it. And fourth question is, what are all the things that make sticking to this habit, not so enjoyable, that make me not really want to do it? And you want to eliminate all those things that make you not really want to do that thing, right? So there are three things you can do here. First of all is making the things you want to be doing visible. So as said, the book on the right couch, or let's say the alarm for the gym, or your gym stuff already packed. That's the first thing. Make things visible. The second thing is make things attractive. So you want to set up things, do some upfront works that makes the performance of your habit more attractive. So maybe calling your friend and organizing yourself to go to the gym, or maybe it's buying the subscription beforehand so you're not there in double pain because you also have to still pay. And you want to basically make this new habit as easy and as attractive as possible, as visible as possible. And here it's just about really thinking about all the things that need to be done to perform that habit, and that making sure that everything is already ready, setting up your environment so that you don't have any other distractions, and that you only have the things you need already nice and tidy, already well prepared. So for example, what I do, and I know this is kind of like autistic detail of doing things, but it does fucking work. In the morning, when I know that the first thing I'm going to do is some work on my laptop, I already set up my standing desk with my laptop already in the right place, and I already open the right tabs. I close all the wrong ones. I put my laptop in airplane mode if I don't need to have any any Wi-Fi, I have already, you know, my earphones, and I have already opened the right kind of music, so neuro beats, which I like to use. I have my desk clean, there is no other thing, and I've basically set it up everything, even my bottle. I don't need to be here if I need to drink, you know, needing to go and search for water, right? It's very simple, I know, but it does work. Just set up everything you can for least resistance of doing the right things and for maximum resistance of doing the wrong things. Obviously, if you wanted to stop a bad habit, make sure that, you know, that habit is as invisible as possible, is as hard as possible, and is as, you know, as unattractive as possible for you. So tie it up with things that you don't really want. And now I have some other bonus tricks for you. First of all, make it satisfying. This is a thing that really helps you to build momentum and, you know, enjoy building a new habit, because oftentimes when you do things like going to the gym for the first time, it's like a big hit, like a hard thing that you don't really want to do. And so pair it with something that you want to do. For example, you like reading a specific kind of book, or you like, you know, maybe eating a specific kind of food. Obviously, don't use going to the gym as an excuse to eat McDonald's every day, 3 times a day. You know what I mean? But like pair it with something that is satisfying for you, if possible, something that helps you and that is positive for you. So what I do is tracking my habits. So I basically have here my habit tracker. And every single day when I've done the right thing, I tick it off, and that gives a little bit of extra dopamine, right? A little bit of satisfaction, which in this case I don't think is a harmful thing. But there are many things that you could be doing that are actually harming you. Don't do that. It's very simple. Then you also want to make the wrong habits very punishing. So decide right now a punishment you are going to give yourself if you do the wrong thing or the bad habit that you want to break free from. Now here is another bonus trick for you that is really going to make sticking to a habit very, very easy. Especially at the beginning, you need to do this. And that is starting small. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've done this mistake very often of, you know, wanting to build a new habit and starting at 120% intensity. For instance, when I wanted to build a new diet, what did I do back then a few years ago? I didn't know anything about building habits. I just cut off all the sugar I was eating. Literally, I was eating a lot of sugar. I watched a film about sugar, and then I cut off everything. 0 grams of sugar per day was my goal. And so you can imagine that I actually quit that diet quite, you know, soon, within a few weeks. And when I wanted to build my dream physique, starting to build abs, what did I do? I started every single day with the hardest possible ab workout. I did it for 1 month, and then I quit. Obviously, bro, because how can you expect, if you're starting with 120% intensity and haven't yet built the habit and the identity, to stick to it, right? So start small, be wise. At the end of the day, you know, building a habit is a marathon, it's not a sprint, it's a long-term thing. And so in the long run, it's way more powerful to stick to it for 10 years and have the first month where you didn't, you know, do everything at 100% intensity, then starting at 120% and then giving up within 2 weeks, and for the next 10 years you do nothing. So make sure that you don't do my same mistake of just getting things done with your ego, and just use your brain, be wise, and make things easier and simpler for you at the beginning. And another, I think this is probably the most important thing, is actually making it part of your identity. The thing is this, even if you have a perfectly designed environment, until you have not really, you know, incorporated that new habit in your identity, it's going to be hard to stick to it, because it's not going to feel part of you. The most important thing you can literally do to make doing a new habit so easy, bro, that you're literally not going to want to fuck it up. It's literally going to be hard to fuck it up and so easy to stick to it, is making it part of your identity. And so many people can, you know, say this if they have been, you know, going consistently to the gym. Most people experience this. They experience that they start to not go to the gym anymore. Like, it starts to become hard to not go to the gym because it has become part of their identity. If you have done this experience, then you know what I'm talking about. And it's very simple. It's just about doing the same thing with any kind of habit that you want to be building or that you want to break free from, obviously. Now, how do you do that? It's actually more kind of like not really complicated, but it would take me some time to explain this, and I already made a video about it. So if you're interested in sticking to your habits as easy as possible, the next step is to know how to build the right identity. If you want, go and check out this video. It will explain you in very great detail how to do it.